There is a war that requires no army, a battlefield that fits within the span of a human hand, a ritual of absolute solitude that either confirms the soul in its prison or shatters it against the walls of eternity. Forget the world, forget the other. We are now in the sealed chamber, the vas hermeticum. The door is locked. The only thing here is you and your own shadow. The first act of the profane onanist is not a touch. It is a conjuration. In the hermetic doctrine of the mundus imaginaris, the imagination is not a faculty of fantasy. It is an organ of perception and creation. To form an image with desire is to summon a subtle being, a larva. The masturbator, in the moment he closes his eyes and calls forth the image of a desired body, is engaging in a sorcerous act. He is a demiurge of the shadow world, forging a partner from the raw plasma of his own unmet need. This phantom is a vampire, unlike a living woman who carries her own sovereign weight, her own divine resistance. This ghost offers no resistance. It is perfectly compliant, a total slave to the will, and that is its horror. Union with something that cannot refuse you does not generate light or life. It exhausts the subtle body, the vital essence, which Evola called the diamond body, in potentia, is not offered to a living chalice. It is spilled into a mirage. The hands clutch steam. The mouth drinks sand. This is the onanism of lust. Its fuel is not the body's natural fire, but the stolen images of others, processed through machinery of pure selfishness. The moment the phantom is fed, it dissolves, leaving the conjurer empty and cold. The subtle channels, the nadis, are not filled with ascending fire. They are left with porous, magnetized to the very obsession that just drained them. The circle is complete. The serpent has eaten its tail. The prison is sealed. And the self, far from being transcended, is confirmed in its most isolated, pathetic, and absolute monarchy over a kingdom of dust. But there is a second path, a whispered heresy in the extreme texts of the left hand. It is the onanism of transcendence, and is so perilous that to speak of it is to lay a trap for the ego. Here, the physical act is stripped of its mental pornographic narrative and reduced to a purely mechanical trigger, a controlled friction. The goal is not the terminal horizontal explosion of ejaculation. The goal is a vertical, non-terminal implosion. You've seen the diagnosis, the two onanisms. One a profane collapse into the self, the other a razor's edge that threatens to crown the ego as a solitary, Luciferian god. The question now becomes operative. It is no longer what is this, but how do I break the seal? How does one actually transcend the gravity of the solitary act and restore the outward, heroic orientation of the soul? The answer is not a list of tips. It is a campaign, a series of strategic, metaphysical operations in the invisible war. There are 4 battles. The first and most immediate front is the imagination itself. As established, the profane act is fueled by the conjuration of the succubi of the mind, the phantoms. These images are not harmless. They are parasites you have given permission to feed. The first act of transcendence, therefore, is not a repression of desire, but a ruthless iconoclastic purification of the inner gaze. This is the via purgativa of the solitary act. You must become a warrior iconoclast in the temple of your own mind. When a phantom image arises unbidden, a memory, a pornographic still, a fragment of a desired body, do not dialogue with it. Do not wrestle with it. For to wrestle is to engage, and to engage is to feed. You simply sever. The Evolian imperative is one of cold, solar detachment. You look at the image as a commander looks at a traitor. This is the practice of the interior whitewashing. Over time, the space between the impulse and the conjuration widens. The phantoms grow thin, starved, translucent. The second battle is the transmutation of fire. Destroying the phantoms is not enough. The vital fire, the libido, remains. To simply suppress it with brute will is to create a pressurized boiler that will eventually explode, often in forms more pathological than the original act. Evola's path is never one of mere mortification. It is one of transmutation. This is not a metaphor. There are concrete operative techniques. The simplest is the circulation of breath and light. At the moment the vital heat builds, whether through natural impulse or conscious generation, you sit, spine erect. You close the eyes, you draw the breath up the spinal column as a visualized current of white gold light from the base of the crown to the head. On the exhalation, you circulate it down to the front of the body. You create a closed circuit of light, a microcosmic orbit that is entirely internal and non-sexual. The raw, undirected fire is caught, gathered, and refined into a steady, radiant warmth of wakefulness. This is the alchemy of Ojas, the conversion of reproductive potential into spiritual luminosity and intellectual force. The warrior no longer spills his blood on the ground of phantasms. He forges it into a blade. The energy is the same. Its direction and form are utterly transformed. The third battle is the death of the solitary king. The deepest root of the solitary vice is not biological. It is metaphysical. It is the refusal of the other. It is the ego's declaration that it is sufficient unto itself, that it needs no external reality to risk itself against. To truly transcend the act, one must wage war on the solitary king, who sits on the throne of the psyche. This is the most terrifying battle, because it requires a total reorientation of the self toward reality. It means seeking and enduring the resistance of the other in all domains. In the physical, it means seeking the sacralized, polarized union with a real woman, and accepting all the danger, the risk of refusal, the challenge to one's sovereignty that implies. In the intellectual, it means exposing one's ideas to the sharpening stones of real opponents, not the sycophantic ghosts of one's own mind. Every time you choose the comfort of the solitary over the friction of the relational, you reinforce the prison of the closed circuit. Every time you step outside, speak to a stranger, risk a true encounter, engage in a real battle of wills, you starve the inner king of his absolute monarchy. Transcendence here is slow, agonizing abdication. The throne must be left empty, so that the living relationship with the infinite, not a self-made idol, can occupy the center of the soul. The final battle is the ritual of the open hand. The transcendence must be ritually sealed. The act of masturbation is, as we have said, a ritual of the closed fist. Its counter-ritual is the open hand. You must physically enact the breaking of the circuit with your body. In the moment of greatest temptation, when the phantom knocks and the fire rises, you do not clench. You stand. You physically open your hands, turning the palms upward. You assume a posture of offering. The energy that was about to be pulled inward and downward is now consciously, physically thrust outward and upward. You offer it. To whom? To your own highest principle. To the transcendent. To the unrepresentable sun that Evola speaks of. You say physically and mentally, "This fire is not mine to hoard. I offer it as a fuel for my awakening, for my clarity, for my action in the real world. I give it back to the light." This is not a psychological trick. In a hermetic understanding, Gestra and Willard 1. The body teaches the soul, the open hand, held until the wave of craving passes, severs the contract with the phantom and reforges the pact with the vertical. You ask the question that burns at heart of every sealed chamber. Not how do I escape, but can the poison be the antidote? Can the closed fist, at the moment of the tightest clench, become an open hand? The answer sealed in the most dangerous texts of inner traditions is yes. But this yes has no handle, it can only be grasped by the blade. This is the lightning stroke. Masturbation not as a release, but as a sacrificial technology. The mind must be made void and filled with a single abstract yantra, the central channel, luminous tube, thin as reed, running from the perineum to the crown of the skull. Empty, dark, infinite. You're not performing to pornography. You're performing to the architecture of your own subtle spine. The hand touches not the genitals, the hand touches the base of a lightning rod. The mind stations itself at the crown, looking down like an eagle. You are not the one feeling the pleasure. You are the one witnessing a storm being generated. As the fire builds, a critical reversal occurs. Normally consciousness drowns in sensation. Here you withdraw. You ride the wave of heat. But through breath and will, you visualize it as liquid, crimson gold, light, ascending the central channel. This is the dry path. You do not clamp muscles to create a dam that festers. You give the seed a path upward more compelling than the path outward. The magnetism of the attention at the crown is the only seal. The seed wants to move, you choose its direction. The abyss, the precipice of the ejaculatory reflex. Every nerve screams to collapse outward. This is the dragon at the gate. To lose concentration for a microsecond is to fail. You do not push, you do not resist with force, you surrender the tension to the channel. At the absolute apex of the spasm, the moment the body convulses, you perform a radical act of interior will. The serpent strikes. You visualize the crimson gold lightning exploding upward from the base, through the heart, shattering out of the crown of the skull. The physical spasm occurs, but its direction is hijacked. The true release is internal. This is the Urdhva Retas orgasm, the inverted lightning. It is not localized genital spasm. It is a silent, thunderous detonation of light at the crown, followed by a cascade of cooling white nectar, amrita, bathing every cell. The body is not drained, it is galvanized. The pleasure is magnified 100-fold, distributed through every fiber, but it is a pleasure devoid of craving, a bliss that clarifies. The ego was not fed, the ego was the fuel, incinerated in the furnace. What remains is not you feeling good, but impersonal luminous wakefulness wearing your body as a garment. The war is always internal. The seed in the hand is a question. It contains either the potential for a radiant body or the fuel for a phantom's feasts. It can be spilled into a void or alchemically ascended. It can seal the prison, or in the most perilous, improbable and solitary act of heroism imaginable, blow the walls of the self apart.